Picture this. You finish reading the bullet point on the slide that took you 6 hours to put together last night. You turn around to face your audience and you realize that they are asleep. You click to the next slide, turn back to face the screen and wonder when this pain is going to be over. Have you ever delivered a presentation like this? Have you ever struggled to keep an audience engaged? In this video, I'm going to give you 4 tricks to keep your audience engaged. And I'm also going to explain why I'm never using PowerPoint again. But more on that later. Trick number 1 is to start with a story. Human beings are hardwired to pay attention to stories. For thousands of years, storytelling has been a primary method of communication. The amazing things about storytelling are that your audience will naturally want to listen to you, and your audience will remember much more about what you told them. When I do presentations and training seminars, I use stories to get the point across. For example, I often do training seminars about active listening. Instead of lecturing about how important active listening is, I share some of the struggles I've had when not using active listening, stories that the audience can relate to, and then telling the audience how things improved when I started to use active listening techniques. When you present information this way, the message sinks in. Trick number 2 is to add some incongruent juxtaposition. Instead of starting with the traditional presentation openers of good morning or who wants to or I'm going to show you, start with something completely unrelated to your topic. The purpose is to hook the audience and keep them wanting more. For example, you could start with something like this. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to talk to you this morning about how a sudden stroke and subsequent heart attack helped me finish the Benson project on time. This opener has the audience wondering how near-death experiences and the Benson project are in any way related, and this curiosity keeps your audience engaged throughout your presentation. Trick number 3 is to frame for your audience early. If you keep the focus on what's in it for the audience, your presentation has a higher likelihood of engaging your listeners. Why is this? Most business presentations that you're forced to attend are delivered as information sharing presentations. Information sharing presentations let you know about some new information in the company, some change that's happened, a new project, a new company structure, something like that. Rarely do these type of presentations focus on the benefits to the audience. Framing your presentation from an audience's perspective will keep your audience engaged. Instead of talking about the features of the new system, talk about how the new system is going to save the audience time. Instead of talking about the company reorganization, talk about how the new structure is going to save people from doing mundane work. Trick number 4 is to use open loops. Have you ever been unable to sleep at night thinking about all the unfinished work that you have? You can't sleep because you're thinking about all the open loops that you have back at the office. As humans, we have a natural need for closure. When a story or a task is left open, we have a tendency to remember it. We much more easily forget stories and tasks which have been closed. Take comedian Billy Connolly, for example. Throughout his comedy routines, he tells stories that only get half finished because they branch off into other stories. As a result, his stand-up contains lots of open loops. By the end, he always closes and resolves all of the loops, but keeping them open throughout his routine keeps the audience riveted. In other words, open loops keep your audience listening and wanting more. When you use them in a presentation, they are very powerful. The longer you keep your audience listening, the more likely it is that they are going to take the action you need them to take after your presentation. And if you've listened this far, you might still be thinking, why is Dave never using PowerPoint again? And that's the point. I will use PowerPoint again. I just wanted to prove that having an open loop at the start of a presentation works. And if you enjoyed this video, you are going to love the video that's on the screen right now. Thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to click like and subscribe, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next video.